Hey, I'm Jason from Fret Nation, and I want to talk to you about BStocks and what makes something a B stock, and discuss what different levels of B stock there are. B stock basically means something is either factory blemished or blemished after the fact. There's many different levels of B stock. If you're buying a B stock instrument, the seller should disclose exactly what makes it a B stock, or give some kind of general statement like blemishes if there's like some small marks on it. I'm just going to show you a couple different B stocks that we have around here. This first one, this one was not marked as a factory B stock, but we noticed a couple small blemishes on it. The base is perfect, plays perfect, everything as it should. What we found is, you can see right here, that little yellowing in the finish. There's that. Then there's also that little yellow mark right there. This is a matte Ducati white finish. It's a pretty difficult finish to keep looking nice, but if we're going to put a brand new price tag on something, we don't want blemishes like that. These are pretty small, so this one actually made it through without being marked as a B stock. But we're marking this as a B stock. If this was marked as a B stock from the manufacturer, then on the back they would have stamped a B next to the serial number, so we know it's a B stock. But we're B stocking this one. This isn't marked from the factory as a B stock. This one's a LB100 Tribute from G&L, and this is a B stock because of two spots in the neck. So if you see right here, it's a little bit lighter finish. We have another one like that over here. It looks like it must have been a rough spot, so they sanded it down, and it took some of the vintage tint finish off the neck. And because of that, we marked it as a B stock. This is another one that passed through. They shipped it as an A stock, but we're marking it as a B stock because, again, I don't think you should be paying a full price if there's something that to me looks like a blemish. It's very difficult. I mean, you can see it when you look down at the instrument while you're playing it. It's not horrible. It's there. So because it's there, we went ahead and marked that as a B stock. Now this one, they didn't mark this as a B stock, but there's a very small finish blemish. You might be able to see it right there. There's a small crack in the finish. It's sealed, it's not going to spread, but because of that, we're marking this as a B stock. This one they caught before they even shipped it to us, so they let us know. So other things can be marked as a B stock. This amp, this brand, they put an R. They actually carve a little R into it. That's their version of a B stock. And some other pedals as well. I once had a company send a whole bunch of pedals, and there was a little bit of finish bubbling on the bottom, and because of that, they marked it as a B stock. Some brands have another thing called C stock or even D stock, and that's if the blemish is really bad. I once had one company send something, they marked it as a D stock because there was, instead of being all fully finished, there was one little part that looked like a little line, like almost like a little wear mark, where there was no finish and you saw the wood through. It was a vintage burst base, so it actually looked really good, but they marked that as a C stock or a D stock because you saw the wood when you weren't supposed to see the wood. So yeah, there's a number of different things that we call the B stock. If something's been played a lot in the shop, which not many of our instruments are, those if they're sitting for a while, I might mark them as a B stock just because they've been played and want to move them. So the B stock is a excuse to lower the price. So that's a little hint you can get. So those are fully disclosed as being such. But yeah, BStocks can be anything. For example, some of these cabs, these are our showroom cabs. And, I mean, if someone comes into the shop, we'll sell it like that. Well, there was a 112 right there. Ended up selling that one. But these, I would not sell as new. I consider them, open box, so I would sell them as an open box, or B stock if there's blemish. But usually at that point, if it's an open box and there's damage on it, I wouldn't even call that a B stock. Now, there's a difference between selling something as used, in the case of an open box item, or B stock. B stock are sold as new items. So it's a new item. They usually retain the full factory warranty with exception of the blemish disclosed. So in the event of, say, that dingwall that had the finish blemish, factory warranty is fully intact. What is not covered is going to be the blemish. Now that one got out of dingwall without being stamped as a B stock, but since we're labeling it as a B stock and selling it as a B stock, that blemish is not going to be covered under warranty. Usually finish blemishes are not covered under warranty anyways, because finish is, anything can happen to a finish at any point. So, but yeah, anything electronics wise, construction wise, unless it had to do with the B stock, then it's going to be fully covered under factory warranty. So you want to buy a B stock first before you buy something that is used. But you might get something, really good deal getting a B stock, and sometimes, the company, like, they might just sell something as a B stock just because they want to move it, and the B stock is an excuse to lower the price. So yeah, just make sure if someone is selling something as a B stock, make sure they fully disclose why it's a B stock, and see if you can get photos of any blemishes or anything. We're really strict about what we mark as a B stock, so if there's a slightest blemish, we're going to mark it as a B stock, even if it's like a little pinhole, where some companies, they just let stuff ship out the door, regardless of like what kind of finish blemish it might have, and they'll still sell it as new. But I mean, as you can see, the slightest finish blemish, we're going to mark it as a B stock. So yeah, you can see some of our instruments on fretnation.com. And any questions at all, leave it in the comments. Thanks.